What the fuck is a reboot?
A reboot, boys, is when Hollywood wants to make a lot of money without the hassle of creating a new movie. So they take an old movie and change just enough to make you pay for the same shit all over again.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Frame for Frame. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tom Garcia, aka Lil Yumper, and I'm with my other co-host from the Cubes fan, Mr. Michael Cotton. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing pretty good. It's Sunday morning. It's a beautiful day, and we're staying inside so that we can talk about movies that we watched many years ago.
yes, we are. But this is the lead up to the Bears game, so we're gonna have some fun before the Bears hopefully win tonight or in the afternoon.
I will say I'm a big baseball fan, more so than football. I used to really be into football and watching the Bears and stuff. And so this season, I really haven't gotten into them yet, though, the Bears. So I don't know. I kind of, it's like I flip them on for a little bit and I watch, and I don't know. I haven't actually made it through an entire game this season.
Oh, man. Well, you had the Cubs playoffs. I watched the Cubs playoffs, but I wasn't as invested like you were. But, I mean, it's either the Bulls, which are owned by a team that the same guy that owns my baseball team, which are bad, or the Blackhawks, which I don't support. So I guess I just gotta go with the Bears, and they're my last hope, man.
Yeah, it's a rough situation in Chicago right now with the ownership and all the things. Yeah, it is wild. Like when you think about somebody owning one team, like how much money you have to have, but to own two, that's why that's crazy to me.
And like say that you're a second tier team.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Jerry's test said, well, we were not going to make this this signing because of we don't make as much money, which I can see. I mean, I have gone to the games. They're not as full as a Wrigleyville ballpark, but I mean they are full to a point. But to not have a $100 million contract ever in your franchise is pretty ridiculous.
Well, and he can't say that about the basketball.
They have a salary cap. I mean, they signed Zach LaVine, and we saw how great that worked out.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's a little more of who you're hiring to run the thing is a little more.
Michael Reinsdorf. The Dan Reinsdorfs. But you didn't come here to listen to us complain about sports, unless you did.
Yeah, you might have.
But we decided to try something new. So we decided to go with an older film that is about, 41 years old. And we decided to go with the remake that was released. Now, Cotton, I'll tell you, for the 2023 remake, it was hard as hell to get fucking pictures from that film off the internet. For some reason, they're like blocked and all those other places, so I had to improvise.
Okay, well, yeah, and I will say, so we're doing Toxic Avenger, which honestly is it's. I mean, do you even consider it a B movie?
I would say it's more of a C movie.
Yeah, it really is. kind of a C movie from 1984, and then they redid it, and I guess I was really surprised when I went and looked for the remake. I thought it was brand new. I thought it came out in 2025, but it only got released in theaters, I guess, in 2025. But it's been around for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's been sitting in like, I guess, dormant, not picked up by anybody. And they finally got picked up this year. I know Peter Dinklage was talking about it. I kept hearing about it, but I never really looked into it because, spoiler alert, like Troma is a part of film, but I'm not really into Troma. But I know Peter Dinklage is really, really a big fan of it, so I was wondering like when it was going to be released, and it just finally got picked up this year, which is crazy. But just my little like experience with Toxic Avenger before we go into like the Act 1, and I want to hear yours as well. Like of course, I didn't experience the movie first. I experienced the cartoon show that was for kids, which is totally different from the films, and it's more like watered down.
I've never seen the cartoon.
Yeah, he had like a mop, and then he had like a ball that talked, and all these he had all these other Avengers with him that were like mutants. There's actually if you watch AVGN, he did a video game review of Toxic Avenger games, and Lloyd Kaufman actually appears in them with him. It's really crude, the whole review, but the games they're playing are based off the cartoon. So I watched the cartoon way before I watched the film, and then I think I watched the film on USA Up All Night, so a lot of the stuff was censored. What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm a bit older than you, so 1984 would have been, I think I was around 8. But then, a couple years later, it started to hit the, VHS and, late night on Cinemax or HBO or, the movie channel, like all that stuff. And it was, so, I was probably like 10 or 11 when I saw it. And if anybody's seen The Toxic Avenger, you know that this movie is perfect for a 10 or 11 year old. Like, it's right in your wheelhouse. Like you think to yourself, like, it's gory, there is nudity, there's like, it's goofy, funny, like there's all these like sort of bad dad jokes. And so like when you're that age, it just hit me perfect. So I actually saw The Toxic Avenger a number of times throughout my childhood because I saw it probably, like I said, when I was like 10 or 11. And then, and then me and my friends we'd watch it every so often. Or if it happened to be late at night and it was on one of those, HBO or whatever, we would just turn it on and watch it. And I remember just really liking it as a kid, like knowing.
I can see why you liked it.
Right. And well, and even as like it's plot twist. It's even then I knew it wasn't good, right? This is probably the first movie that I think I really actually understood. This is a cult movie. Like I understood what a cult movie was. And it was probably this one. And then, eventually you move on and you watch lots of other movies. And, so I don't know. When we went back, we wanted to do this one because obviously the Toxic Avenger 2023, I guess. I thought it was 2025. I was so confused by that whole thing. I thought I was looking at the wrong movie there for a bit. But it just got released on like Amazon and all the streaming services. It just came out a few weeks ago. So that's why we were like, oh well, this is like a new movie. Let's look at this. And I honestly, like when I found out they were doing that movie, many years ago, actually. I think I heard about it like you did. Like you hear about these things and then it just never shows up. So I think I forgot about it a number of times. But I was like actually pretty excited to see what they were going to do with it. But.
Yeah, so was I. But let's just get into Act 1 here, Cotton, and we can go on from there, my friend.
All right, yeah, let's jump into it.
If elected mayor, my first act will be to kill the whole lot of you and burn your turn to cinders. I know it's on.
All right. So, 1984's Toxic Avenger. This is probably the crown jewel of the Troma Studios movies. They've had a few that have broken out a little bit, but this is like the big one. Like Yumper, like you were saying, they had cartoons. There was 3 sequels. They've now had a reboot of it. There was cartoons. There was everything for this movie. This was like their cash cow. But it was directed by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers. And I don't know. So the synopsis, it says right there on that picture, he had 98 pounds of nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger. It is quite simply, it's just a movie about a nerd who gets bullied, and at some point he falls into toxic chemicals, which of course makes you into it mutates you into like a super strong super being, not kills you. And then like you think, then he just becomes a hero because he already, I guess, he was a hero, but he was a nerd and couldn't really do anything. But once he became, strong and mutant, he just became a much better person. He was able to avenge all the bad things that was happening. But yeah, it was directed by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers, and I love that their directing credits is like Toxic Avenger 2 and Toxic Avenger 3.
Yeah, so this is like the movies they combined. Like, look, Lloyd Kaufman has like I think 61 credits. He is the man of Tromaville.
Yeah.
They're both founders of Troma. Do you know what Troma is? This is a movie that put it on the map. James Gunn was a member of Troma. Tromeo and Juliet was one of his big,
And I watched that not too long ago as well. And I will say Toxic Avenger much better than Tromeo and Juliet.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny that, for this film, it's Lloyd Kaufman that directs it, but he's known as Samuel Wheel, which I thought was weird. Maybe that was his old porn name. I don't know. Because his David Stint is another name he used. So Lloyd Kaufman's just a weird guy. But yeah, this is a film that put Troma on the map. And they collaborated on 10 films directing wise, but he's produced, Michael Hertz has produced many films. And actually I found out he produced the 2023 version too. Which I thought was
and he
crazy.
has a small cameo in that movie as well. But yeah, well, and I guess, I mean, how many people do you think actually know about the Troma movies?
I think now not as popular as it was. Like I was telling you off air, like the AVGN episode kind of opened it up to more people in Troma because that was pretty popular. The Angry Video Game Nerd was pretty popular, and it had Lloyd Kaufman on there, and that episode's just wacky, showing the movies and what in the games. But like Lloyd Kaufman, like I think this was like supposed to be like a reboot for the franchise, getting more popular, like more how would you say, exposure for it. And
Yeah.
It unfortunately sat dormant for 2 years.
Yeah, well, and I will say, so anybody who's watching or listening to this, if you don't know about Tromaville, I mean, in the like 80s and 90s, they were an independent film company. They have a number of movies. Like, did you say there was like 60 movies? Yumper?
So
Or
Lloyd has done 60 films. I don't know how many there are altogether.
Okay.
But he's done
there's
60
like
films himself.
Sergeant Kabuki Man. There's like all these crazy movies, but they would put together these really like really cheaply made movies back in the in the 80s and the early 90s and put them out. And for a long time they were like forgotten. Honestly, I totally had forgotten about them. But Tubi, the streaming service Tubi now has like a ton of these Tromaville movies on Tubi that you can watch anytime you want. And I'll throw them on. I don't know why. I just want to see what it was like. It's almost like just shooting back to the past to like see what it was like, and I'll flip it on just for a little bit. I haven't actually made it through any of the movies except for Toxic Avenger, because this one is actually somehow good. I don't know what they did with this one versus the other ones, but this one made it. And but
Down
yeah,
in the rough, man.
It's amazing. Like, it was such a different time.
Yeah, it's crazy. So while you were talking, I actually looked up how many films were in Troma Entertainment, and our good old friend the Google says that they have distributed, acquired, or produced over 1,000 independent films since 1974.
Oh my goodness.
And then, as one of the longest running independent film companies, Troma has been a starting point for many well-known actors and directors. We already mentioned James Gunn, but Samuel L. Jackson too. I didn't know that.
Oh, interesting. I wonder what he was in.
Yeah, I have to look. But there's like their titles of their films are just redonkulously. Like you were just said, like Romeo and Juliet was one. They have A Dinosaur in Hell. Decapitated, Terror Firmer. It's just here we go. Beware Children at Play.
Yeah.
Dialing for Dingbats. Yeah, it's totally. They consider this B-level movies. I would more put them towards a C tier, or even lower than that. But yeah,
yeah. I agree with you. I think these are definitely C tier movies, and the thing is, it's almost like they're proud of being C tier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no shame.
It's not like they went out and tried to make a good movie and it didn't work. A lot of these movies just feel like, let's just see what we can do. Like, we have this like wild idea, and let's just see what we could do with it. And it doesn't really matter if it's great or not. There's not a lot of, outside of the remake, obviously, there's not like big name actors in these things. They're people just getting their start. Like you said before, James Gunn, writing Romeo and Juliet and stuff. Like, it's a kind of a place where some people can just sort of, I don't know, cut their teeth and figure a few things out and then move on.
Yeah, and from my understanding, Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hurst pretty much are down to do anything. Actually, Lloyd Kaufman's actually pretty cool in person to talk to, and also he's very, very approachable online. He's one of the first people that I like pinged for something. I think I watched the AVGN and I pinged him on Twitter when I had a Twitter account, and he actually followed me back. So he's one of my first follows.
Really?
Which I thought was hilarious because it's Lloyd Kaufman. Even though people like he's a C list, director, he's still Lloyd Kaufman. He's still like one of the well-known person. But yeah, he followed me until I deactivated my account. But he's funny guy.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you can look at it as these are just bad movies or whatever. But when you do it, as long as they have been doing it and they've gotten so many people their starts and they've done so many interesting things, you end up, I don't know, you got to have some respect for it. Like, what they've done, because it's, you know what you're going to get when you turn it on, and it always delivers that.
Yeah.
Even if it's not great. Okay, but you've got the cast on here. So none of the people in this movie went on to become famous really at all. And if they wait, no, there was one.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei. That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, Marissa Tomei was in this movie. I forgot about that. But
she was just a girl walking out of the shower. That's all she was.
Yeah. But yeah, Mitch Cohen is the Toxic Avenger. Mark Torgel is Melvin. And so they had two separate actors play Melvin. He was the nerd that falls into the toxic waste, and then Mitch Cohen becomes Toxic Avenger. It's a completely different person, because obviously you needed, a big, strong person, because back then they didn't have CGI. They couldn't make somebody into the Hulk. They had to actually have a different actor. And then you had Andre Miranda as Sarah.
Yeah. Andre Miranda. Yeah, and it's like one of her only films.
Yeah. So she was one of the, I will say, I think Andre, she's gorgeous, for one. And then, like, and we'll get into this when we talk a little more about these movies. I thought she did a good job in this movie. And I wanted to know, did she have other movies that I could find? But no, she was a pop star. Mm-hmm. And it seems like she did this movie simply to get her song in the movie is what it felt like.
Yeah. So when I did some research on this, because I actually was like, I didn't remember her at all when I rewatched the film. And then I went and like, what else was she in? And she wasn't in anything else, really. This is the only feature film she was in. I went and looked her up online, and there was actually an article released maybe 3 months ago about where she is now. And apparently she doesn't post on Facebook anymore. She's not on Instagram anymore. She basically kind of fell off the grid. She was dating a producer at the time, but she still auditioned for the role. So it wasn't like it was nepotism to get it. She actually got it through her audition for the role of Sarah. And I would say she's probably the best acting person in this film, which says a lot.
Right. Yeah, well, getting into some of these other amazing actors, Gary Schneider as Bozo. I mean, we'll get into it, but this guy is wild. Robert Pritchard was Slug. Pat Ryan Jr. as Mayor Peter Belgoody. I feel like I've seen him in a few things, though.
I think so.
Yeah, he's popped up in a few things. And then Dan Snow as Cigar Face. I think it's hilarious that you threw Dan Snow as Cigar Face in here.
Yeah, I took him out because I already did some of the ones here. I did Dan Snow as Cigar Face, only because he keeps coming back as Cigar Face. But I did put the two females in here for this one too. Jennifer Babis as Wendy, and what's her name? Cindy Manning as Julie. But yeah, Cigar Face is probably my favorite character from the film.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's great. But yeah, so that's the cast. And you may, if you haven't seen this, none of these people are going to be somebody that's going to key you in oh, maybe I'll go see this movie. No, they kind of didn't show up anywhere else other than in a few of the Troma movies. Maybe Pat Ryan did. I need to look at.
He was a mannequin apparently as a manager, a pizzeria manager.
Pizzeria manager, nice.
Yeah,
he's got one of those faces that I don't know. He kind of looks like a lot of people. Like he would just be a bit actor in movies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He unfortunately passed away pretty young.
Oh, did he?
Died. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he was a big boy though.
Yes, he is. He is a very large man. Yeah. So I love that there's a budget and box on this because it almost feels like. I mean, I guess it had to have gotten released, but because I found it on VHS and on like the movie channel and stuff, it never really dawned on me like somebody would go to the theater to see these movies. But yeah, the budget for this movie was $475,000 in the box office of $15 million. Like that is a great. I mean, all the other Troma movies are still living on the Toxic Avenger.
Basically. So I had to go and do some research on how much it made, and it said that through the releases of VHS and movie screenings, the film made $15 million by '89. So it accumulated, but I mean that's a pretty good damn return of from 500K to 15 mil.
Well, and then when you think about, like you said, the cartoons, you know, there's. Is there 3 sequels? Yeah, there's Toxic Avenger 2, 3, and then Citizen Toxie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 3 sequels. There's the cartoon. There's just the like this is kind of the epitome of cult classic. I think there's a lot of people that know about Toxic Avenger and have never seen these movies. Right? Like it has made its way into the culture without people really being able to watch it or wanting to watch it maybe. But the ratings 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. Those are pretty good numbers actually, and 3.3 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah, that rating on Rotten Tomatoes really surprised me looking at this. I didn't think it would be that big of a rating, great rating.
Well, and I will say, I think part of that is the fact that it's the only people who are watching it want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like people aren't just coming across this movie and being surprised, like, oh, this is terrible. Like they're searching this out, and then when they watch it, they're like, yeah, this is what like I said before, when you watch a Troma movie, you get exactly what you're expecting.
Yeah, and so I told you about the cartoon. This is the cartoon characters. Toxic Crusaders is what it was called. And as you can see, you have the Sarah and then all these monsters and whatnot.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's what I grew up saw my first thing with Moppy, his mop. But yeah, man, it's crazy. This movie came out 41 years ago, and then Peter Dinklage decided to do a remake because he's a big fan of the Toxic Avenger series. And we came out with a 2023 version, which is directed by Macon Blair. Now, Macon Blair hasn't done a lot of movies in terms of directing. He's mostly done series. One movie he did do was I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. But he is one of the actors that is in the film Green Room, which we did on at the show, which I think is a great film. I don't know if you've seen that one. Have you?
No, actually, you talked about it on At the Show, and I'm that is on my list of movies to watch here soon. As soon as I, actually sit down and watch it. Now, that's not one that my wife wants to see, so it's got to be one that I'll probably watch by myself.
Yeah, my wife didn't want to watch that either. I mean, I don't blame her. But he plays the role of Gabe in that film. He does a great job. He's been in like 45 films as an actor.
Wow.
So he's done a lot. But in terms of director, he hasn't really got that. So I thought it was kind of weird that he got this this kind of like chance to direct. The cast consists of Peter Dinklage as Winston, Toxie. He does Toxie's voice. Actually, Lisa Guerrera does Toxie's body movement, and she's actually the actor that plays the person of Toxie. So it's not Peter Dinklage under the makeup. It's actually her. He just does the voiceover.
Right. So much like the original, a different actor is the Toxic Avenger versus the pre-Toxic Avenger. But it was interesting that it's this woman. Apparently she does like Cirque du Soleil and stuff. Like she's
She's a badass from what they were saying.
Yeah.
We have Jacob Tremblay as the kid, Taylor Page as J.J. Doherty, Elijah Wood as Fritz Barbinger, Kevin Bacon as Bob Barbinger. We have Johnny Coe as Thad Barbarkis, I think his name is, and David Yell as Girthy Stockings, which is the bum guy. So there is differences. There is differences in this film than there is in the original. I'm not going to talk about into deep. I'm just going to give you the whole plot outline. In the original, Melvin is basically a nerd at a health fitness club that gets bullied and eventually, turned into the Toxic Avenger. And this one, Winston works for a pharmaceutical company as a janitor, but he has a stepson, and his wife has passed. And he finds out he has some cancerous tumor in his brain. He needs medication, but his platinum plan at the company he works for, which I thought was hilarious, because they're like, "Oh no, you need gold." And I'm like, when I was watching, I was like, "Isn't gold platinum above gold?" But exactly. They wouldn't pay for the medication to pay for it, so he had a year to live. So he tried to rob them, and then eventually gets killed, and then they dump his body in toxic waste to cover it up, and then eventually we get the story going from there. But just two different storylines come up with the same result of Toxie coming into this world. For the box office, now there was discrepancies over the box office count. I don't know if you saw, but I saw a budget of $200 million on a couple places. I don't know how accurate that is. So I just went off IMDb and just found the box office of 3.3 million for the film, which is surprising that it only got 3.3 million. It has a rating of 6 out of 10 on IMDb and 86 critics certify fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's lower than the original Toxic Avenger at 3 stars on Letterboxd.
Well, yeah, and that's interesting because both the IMDb and the Letterboxd are lower ratings for the remake, but Rotten Tomatoes is actually higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is crazy. But we kind of held off on talking about this. Let's go into Act 2 right now, and then we can get into these films, my man.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
All right. So the Toxic Avenger, I've said a bunch of times already that I watched this back in the 80s. I've seen it a number of times. And this movie, when I went back to watch this, I didn't know what I was going to see. You know what I mean? Like, you have these movies that you watch when you're a kid and you enjoy them or whatever. And then you watch them as an adult and you're like, yeah, this doesn't hold up at all. And I actually watched this with my daughter. She was over and she watched the first half of it with me. And I'm like, you got to see this movie. Like, I'm going to watch this movie, watch it. And that was an interesting experience too, because we're talking, a person born in 2007 watching this movie versus me having seen this a bunch of times when I was a kid. She really enjoyed it. Like she only got through the first half because then she had to go, but I think she's going to watch this movie again. And I came to a conclusion at that moment. This movie kind of needs to be seen with multiple people, right? If you watch it by yourself, I don't think you're going to get quite as much out of it.
I totally agree with that. I watched this by myself, and I was like, what the fuck? I did not remember. And right away, it plays off a lot of stereotypes. Like the homosexuality is kind of really, really heavy in there. I mean, it says a lot of words that we can't say today. It's very, very sex oriented, which is just throwing the smut in there. And that's all Troma films, to be general. The character of Melvin is just, he's fucking weird. And I guess that's what they wanted to push across. But he just is always smiling, and he has one pant leg rolled up and the other one all down. And when they trick him with this damn sheep when he's kissing it, I found out that the sheep had lice and he didn't know. until after he completed the scene.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just it's pretty crazy, man. The cast of characters in here is just ridiculous.
yeah. Oh, well, and like you say, you're supposed to sort of feel bad for Melvin being bullied, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, he is so over the top, like nerdy, and you almost don't feel bad for him, because he does seem like a person that you wouldn't really want to be around. Now, would I make fun of a person like this? No, I would probably just try and stay away from that person, but he is way over the top. Like when people think of like a nerd, they think of like Revenge of the Nerds, or they, all these different depictions of nerds. This guy takes all of that and cranks it up to 11.
Yeah, I think Melvin had like some mental issues.
Yeah, you're probably right. They don't get into it, but they just make it like he's just a nerd. But yeah, you're probably right. If we're looking at this in a 21st century lens, he probably does have some more mental issues and not just being a nerd.
Yeah, that was one thing. In terms of like stuff, what did you like about this film, Cotton?
Okay, so like I said, I honestly was rewatching this. I did not think I was going to like this at all. Again, I thought it's something from my past, like as a kid and whatever. I think it's funny. It's funny in a bad way. Like, I guess here's the thing. This is a bad movie. Nobody should ever turn this movie on and think to themselves, you're about to see some sort of classic. You're not. This is a bad movie, but it leans into every bit of the badness, right? Like it's because it is so bad and it leans into it, it relishes in it, that it then becomes the point, right? It's like when people tell a joke and they say the joke over and over and over and over, and it's like it's okay at first, and then it gets bad, and then like they keep going and it becomes funny again. That's this movie.
Basically, yeah, it's for one, it's meant to be bad. Like I think they know it's going to be bad. That's the whole point of it. Which I can see Lloyd Kaufman's humor coming out, and Hertz's humor coming out here. It's supposed to be bad, so they lean into it as much as they can. It's just over the top, and that's kind of Tromaville's kind of calling card. We're over the top. We're gonna mix horror and comedy, and we're gonna make memorable characters, but we're not gonna explain why shit happens. Like, why does he put mops over people's faces after he kills them? Why is he killing people in the first place? How does he know they're bad people? Because apparently he only kills bad people
Right.
in this film, but he doesn't really say how he knows. I mean, I don't think Toxic Waste can make you know who kills and who's bad and whatnot. Because when he kills that little small lady and the cleaners, I was like, why the hell is he killing her? Who the hell is she? Like, he just randomly shows up to kill her. Like, then we find out she was like the head of a cartel or something, which I thought was ridiculous. So it just randomly threw that line in there. Oh, she was the head of a cartel. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's very black and white sort of. They did not try to, like, they just said, oh, these are bad people, and Toxie is, I guess, quote unquote good, but he is just murdering people constantly.
Yeah, and I mean, when you talk about over the top stuff, I mean, the gore is awesome for one. I'm a big fan of practical effects. There's a lot of that in here. The kid's head exploding from when they run it over. The guy ripping off his arm. That guy actually is a one-arm actor. The guy who played Frank. He's actually only got one arm.
Really?
So, like, if you notice, I was watching it and then I read some of the trivia and I went back and watched it again. If you notice, he never moves his left arm. It's like a prosthetic. He's always like, that's why he does the thing with the knife to take his focus off the left arm. But that whole sequence there is hilarious too, because his name is Frank. the other guy that's with them, his name is Leroy, and he's the guy with the damn paint all over his face, who looks like weird as hell. Let's see if I can pull a picture of him. Leroy. Yeah, Leroy's right there. And the other guy that I forget his name, but he's just ridiculously crazy too. And the guy who's you would think would be named Leroy's named Frank.
Yeah.
They did like it's crazy. That whole scene where there's some guy shot. There's some guy who comes like, "Oh, leave them alone, leave them alone." And he's like, "Oh, okay," and then he just blows them away. I was like, "Holy shit!" I totally forgot about that part. It's totally in your face, crude, like humor / horror. Basically, the best description I can give of this film is it's The Room, but it knows it's bad, and The Room thought it was serious until it became a black comedy by Tommy Wiseau. He claims it was a comedy, which it wasn't, but he tried to take it seriously. This film knew it was going to be bad, so it tried to just push on the buttons there and see how far it could push the envelope.
Yeah. So, and one thing that it kind of dawned on me when I was watching this is this is a comic book movie. Mm-hmm. You know, like there was no comic book of the Toxic Avenger prior to the movie. There has been since, but like this is basically the whole thing is what we now know as the comic book movie. You have the main actor, the main character starts out one way, something happens, becomes super powered, and then fights the bad guys. And only they did it in 1984 when nobody was doing this. And they did it in such a way that it was just over the top bad. It's like if you watched Captain America, but Captain America actually like killed people in gory ways, you know, like just destroyed people.
And like there's a part where these guys are the cigar face is trying to pay off the cops, and his two henchmen are named Nipples, who's I guess a homosexual guy in a skirt, cross-dressing guy that knows karate. So everybody in this film knows like martial arts, which is ridiculous.
Well, that was a trope back. I mean, honestly, in the early '80s, that was kind of a trope that everybody in an action movie knew how to like do martial arts.
Yeah, and you have his other friend Knuckles, and basically Toxie pokes Nipples' eyes out, rips Knuckles' hair out, and then I think smashes his head, and then he punches Cigar Face in the face, making him bleed, and then proceeds to punch his nuts while he's in a garbage can. Which I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
And I guess like, okay, for anybody who hasn't seen these movies, you're probably really confused as to what happened in this movie. It doesn't matter first, but we go 25 minutes into this movie before the Toxic Avenger becomes the mutant, right? And this movie is only an hour and 20 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
So then you have an hour of actual, like, he becomes this superhero. And, you know, prior to that, they set up these, the muscle heads in this gym where Melvin works as a janitor. They set up that they are like horrifically horrible people. Their fun is to go out in their car and run people over and kill them. And they get more and they get more points the younger, like if it's old people or if it's kids, they get more. So it's really bad, and it's over the top gore. Like they hit a kid on his bike, and he's still moving. So they back up over his head, and then they take pictures of it. Like, yeah, there's a picture. I had totally forgot. That was disgusting.
Yeah, and I read how they did it. They had like a watermelon filled with stuff, and then they had like a body that he did. And then Lloyd Kaufman actually used this from like a real experience with his sister that terrified him. He didn't hurt her, but he was backing up his car and he hit her. I'm guessing he bumped her, not like on the head, but she was fine. But it terrified him enough to where he included it in the film. Yeah, Bozo and Slug are the two bad guys. I guess there's a bunch of bad guys in this film.
The
but like
initial bad guys.
The initial bad guys. And they basically smoke a lot of cigarettes, work out at the health club, and run people over with their two crazy ass girlfriends that they have, which is another ridiculous people.
Yeah. And then, so you think, as this movie gets going, you think that they are the bad guys, right? They're the worst. And when they're the ones that actually lead to Melvin falling into the toxic waste, and then he becomes, so you think it's going to be like a revenge movie, right? He's just going to go back and go after those people. But what actually happens is that he becomes part of this community. And I thought this was again, totally forgot about this, but they have a whole montage after he first shows up in that restaurant that you were talking about with the one-armed man and all that stuff. And he stops a robbery, and then he runs off, and nobody knows who he is. But then he starts showing up throughout the town doing good deeds for people, like just helping them out. So he becomes, so the town like actually likes him, even though he's a monster. Like he's just a horrific looking monster, but he's helping everybody out. And you're kind of like, wait, what's going on? Is he going to go after those like guys that are killing people with their car and stuff that made him into this? And he does eventually get to that. But then they also bring out, because he's, fighting crime and stuff, the mayor is corrupt, and he has, a bunch of organized crime going on. And it's just been, the police chief is a Nazi, literal Nazi. Speaks with German,
does a hail sign and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so all these people are bad. And so he ends up fighting a lot of them before he goes back after the guys that originally made him into the Toxic Avenger. Like, you think that that's going to be the main plot of this movie, but it's not. He's just fighting everyone. And then he eventually gets those guys. But then the movie's not over. He's got to go and stop the mayor.
Yeah. Mrs. Haskell. So the whole point is that he basically can tell if you're bad or not. I don't know how. But Mrs. Haskell, which is the little old lady he kills, was like a leader of a white slavery ring. I wanted to make sure I looked that up.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be negatives in this film that I can say, I didn't like this part and dislikes that. But there's bad acting, but I mean, it knows it's doing bad acting, so I really can't hate on something that knows it's bad. Stereotypical stuff, which is for a time that I like the terms and some stuff that I didn't really like. But that's the term. Besides that, I mean, it hasn't aged well in that aspect.
Right.
But it's fucking like crazy. I mean, what's her name? Andrea Maldana, the girl who plays Sarah, is, like you said, is beautiful, and she has sex with Toxie. And I'm not gonna lie, when they were having sex, and they show them having sex, like they don't show her completely nude, but like Toxie's having sex with her, and I'm like, when he killed her, we just see him pissing on a fucking chimney where it burned the chimney down? Like, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think that's in the remake.
No. Isn't there a part where he's like standing over something? They show him on top of the building, and he walks away and it's smoking.
Probably, but also in the remake they do the chimney gag as well. But yeah. So I have to say, so she plays that she is blind in this movie, and it's over the top, right? But I was actually pretty impressed with sort of how earnest she played her part, and I feel like she nailed exactly what they were trying to get out of her. I was kind of blown away by how, like, everything that she was doing, although it is, yes, technically probably bad, she was doing it perfectly. And I will say all of the actors in this movie are not good actors necessarily, but everything they do, they are doing it perfectly. It's over the top, and it's exactly, I think, what Lloyd Kaufman wanted for this movie. And again, it's bad, but they know it's bad, and they lean into it, and it somehow becomes fun. Like, it really does. Like, the guy that plays Bozo, I was blown away by that guy too. Like, I was like riveted when he's doing what he's doing, because it is so over the top and so crazy. And
he has stress problems.
He what?
He has stress problems, as we could say.
Stress. It stresses me out. I don't know how the Toxic Avenger pulled off the magic trick for me to be an enjoyable movie. I really don't. Like, I don't get it, because I watched it again as like an almost 50-year-old man, and I was like transported back. And of course, I was watching it with my kid, and like, you know, she thought it was funny. Like, there is something about this movie that I love, and I kind of feel like, even though it's terrible, everybody is in on the joke, and they are playing their parts perfectly. And like, you looked up Andrea Miranda, I did too, because you really think after you see her in this movie that she probably did other things, because it does seem like she knows kind of what she's doing. It's just all supposed to be bad, and she nails it. Whereas like, the other actors, the guy that plays Bozo and Slug, like, these guys are doing exactly what they need to do, and they were fun to watch, but you don't look at what they're doing and go, oh, this could translate to other movies, right? But what she was doing, seriously, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I think she probably had a career after this, which she did not. She was a pop star. She was trying to get her music career going.
Yeah, and I think she was added as eye candy, but she did a great job as the actress, the lead actress, compared to Jennifer Bappitz, who did Wendy, and what was the other? Sarah. No, Sarah was the other girl, Julie, Cindy Mannon, who did Julie.
Yeah.
They were eye candy. They weren't great actresses, but Sarah kind of outplayed them, outacted them, and altogether. So I thought she was awesome in the film. And the other two, apparently, I was reading, there's a part where he goes up to Julie with the scissors, and they cut away, so you never see what happens to her. And then Wanda, he throws her on the coals in the sauna room and burns her ass.
Yeah.
I thought they died, but apparently, I guess the version I watched, which was on Amazon Prime for free, they lived. There was in the, I guess, the not theatrical release, they have a scene where they're both at the police station. Wendy's got bandages on her butt, and Cindy's bald. I mean, Julie's bald, and they're getting charged for the hit and run murders.
Yeah, I read about that too. I was looking into it, and I read that, yeah, apparently they lived, but I don't know. That doesn't seem. I'm glad they cut that out, because you don't see Toxie kill them, but you assume that that's what happened. And with how the rest of the movie goes, it's fine. You're ready for those two women to die, because they're horrible
people. They're horrible people. Just horrible people.
So
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. So I watched this movie, and then I watched the remake. Did you watch them in that order as well?
Yeah, I actually went and watched the original first, and then I watched the remake because I hadn't seen the remake, so I wanted to see the original and remember it because I haven't watched that movie in years. I went and watched the remake, which I thought was, for one, I think the original is just kind of meshed together, and it goes like an array of storyline after storyline and subplot that doesn't really make sense. Well, I think the remake is more of a hashed out plot, and it has some really good acting in it, which really surprised me for a film that's basically based off the fucking Toxic Avenger.
Right. Well, I mean, it's got Peter Dinklage, and he's an absolutely great actor.
Yeah, but I think to be honest with you, Kevin Bacon steals the show for me. I love Kevin Bacon. Tremors, or we call him Kevin Ham.
Yeah.
His Tremors is one of my favorite movies, but he is awesome in this film, and so is Elijah Wood as his brother.
Okay, so you got a picture of Elijah Wood up there right now. The only thing I could think of every time I saw Elijah Wood is the butler, I think, from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I think that's what they're kind of going for. I was thinking of the Penguin from Batman every time I saw him.
Oh yes, I'm seeing that right now too. Yeah.
But for one, the budget is 10 times higher in this film. It has, like I said, a more followable plot. The story of why he becomes Toxie, I think, is better than the original. He's trying to get medicine for his whatever the fuck it is, his brain. They don't really say what it is. The doctor that he goes to is hilarious. The fact that he shows up to that ceremony in a tutu. I think I have a pic. Oh man, I included that guy in there. I have a picture of him in a tutu right there.
Yeah.
Where shows up to the award ceremony for Bob with Kevin Bacon's character in a tutu and a mask, which I thought was hilarious. And he comes up and talks to him about getting his medication. It's just like this dude comes up to him in a tutu, like, and Kevin Bacon's character just accepted it, which I thought was like, what?
Yeah. Well, and he tries to play off like he is one of the waiters or something in order to get into this ceremony, right? Mm-hmm. But like you say, like he's wearing a tutu and a mask. Like this is not somebody who's working here.
And they explained the tutu better in this film than they did the other one. I mean, he was in a tutu because they tricked him. But this one, he has a tutu too, and they explain why he was wearing it because he's trying to cheer up his stepson. What about the transformation, man? I thought the transformation in the original was really good, and I think the one here, they didn't really show him go through it besides the overlay of effects and then the designs. Like, what'd you think of the designs between the two, the original Toxie and this one? Of course, this one has a bigger budget, but what'd you think about them?
Well, I will say. So I did the same as you. I watched the old one and then I watched the new one, and the new movie is so much better. The transformation, the way it looks. The only thing I don't like about the new one, like the new transformation, the way that he looks, is that black eye, like that. But I think that's more of like it personally creeps me out more so than it's bad. It just is like it's just so weird that he's got that like bulbous black thing in his face. But I will say at times it felt, and I think this is true for this whole movie, it felt too good. Right, the makeup and stuff that whatever that woman's Guerrero is wearing to become the Toxic Avenger is great, but you see it for some reason it comes across like they wanted it not to look quite as good as it did. right? So they sort of they shoot it in the light and stuff. And so like we're looking at the picture right now, and the veins and this stuff, it just almost looks too good.
Yeah,
right.
I guess you're saying I kind of feel it takes away from that campy feel of the original, which I could see that. I did like that about the original. I like the transformation scene in the original better than I did this one, personally, because again, practical effects. But one thing I did like about this film is the first one is very, very like over sexualized. This one is not as sexualized, so this is more of a film that more people can watch. I mean, I guess you know what I mean, if they're not into that kind of thing, except the part where he goes to the concert.
I was like, I'm like trying to remember. I don't think there's really any sex in it, but I guess there is the one scene where the woman flashes him.
No, that scene is ridiculous. So there's a scene where he goes to the Sick Nuts, I think they're called, the band.
Yeah.
And they're all bad people. They wronged him. They killed him. Well, they shot him in the head. He goes to their concert at a fair, and they're like a rapping monster core group that apparently Elijah Wood's character manages. But he goes there, and when he's talking to them, like he's singing a song that they have over karaoke, and like two women flash, and then they show a guy's wiener pop out. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was just so random. It's like two women flash, they just show the women's breasts, and then it's like a guy's wiener pops out. I think it just did that. It made me laugh because it was just so ridiculous. I found myself laughing a lot more in this film than the original. Though the original made me laugh, but there was like a lot of stuff in here that made me laugh, especially when he's like, he finds out his pee can burn metal, and he tells her, I gotta get my dick out. And he's like, I'm not a pervert. I am not a pervert. Now watch out, I got piss in my face. I'm like, what? Like, just parts like that were cracking me up about what he, the dialogue, for like, what kind of stuff stuck out to you?
Yeah. Well, I will say, so going in, I'm watching the movie, and this movie in a technical aspect is 100 times better than the original, right? The acting's better. The cinematography is better. The, just everything is just, it's really a good movie, right? But it just doesn't, the one issue I had with it didn't build how Toxic Avenger became a hero quite as well as the original, right? Because I was saying before, like he stops the thing in the restaurant, right? But then they show him like doing different things throughout the town to make people love him. In this movie, they have that restaurant scene very similar, right? They pulled that scene directly out of the old movie. One of the few things that they actually pulled directly from the old movie is this like restaurant scene. He comes in, he stops all the bad guys, and then he's just immediately a hero. And then it moves on. And I thought that was weird in that when he shows up to the concert and he murders all the band members, he just tells everyone like, hey, they were bad guys. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that they're bad guys. He just shows up and they're like, oh, look, it's Toxic Avenger. And then he murders the band on stage, and everybody's kind of like, oh my God, he's murdering everybody. And then he's like, don't worry, they were all bad. And everybody's like, oh, okay. And it kind of blew me away that this movie is 20 minutes longer. The new one is 20 minutes longer than the old one. And somehow the old one fit in a lot more about how Toxic Avenger became a hero to the town. So that in the original, they tried to make the mayor trying to get rid of him tries to portray him as a bad guy, and they bring in the National Guard to stop him, and the town sort of stands up for him, and you understand it. In the remake, He shows up and just murders a band and says, no, don't worry, it's fine. This is what's happening. And everybody just sort of accepts it. And it was kind of surprising to me that a movie that's literally better in almost every way, the story sort of fell a little bit in that aspect that you're just supposed to accept that it's okay that he murdered a band in front of everybody at their concert.
Yeah, and he fucks them up. Like the first guy, he rips his head off, top of his head off with his mop. Oh, his mop is like his weapon. He dumped it in toxic waste. That's why it got so powerful.
That's another thing. The original, he doesn't have mops as weapons. He just happens to grab a mop wherever he's at and use it in some way. In the remake, yeah, they make the mop his like a very lethal weapon. What did you think about him having this mop as his weapon?
I think for the reason they did it was because, and this is more because Peter Dinklage's character, he's a smaller guy. Well, he's a smaller guy. I think they had to give him some edge to be more menacing besides his looks. And I think that's probably like a way of like, oh, he's strong and he also can rip people's faces off with this mop. I think that was kind of a crutch for him there because he of course is a smaller actor compared to Toxie, who's a big dude. The other Toxie, who was bigger and could punch the shit out of people, it's a little easier for him to have that weapon to kill people. That's kind of what I got from it. So it didn't really bother me that much. What about you?
Yeah, I was just surprised by it. You know, it's like I wasn't expecting him to have this sort of like, I don't know, magical mop that he can just
disclose,
tear people up with. But outside of that one little bit with the Toxic Avenger sort of character building, Kevin Bacon's character and this corporation being bad and doing, he's a like a health nut, right? Like he's
a snake oil salesman, basically. Like,
yeah, claiming that this stuff that he's selling is going to make you, more attractive and in better shape and all that stuff. So he's not the muscle bound like weightlifting guy that you see in the original, but it still sort of has that feel to it because, he's always looking at himself and I mean, he looks amazing for his age, obviously, but then he's selling this to sort of those same, it's like he would be selling it to the bad guys from the original movie is how it felt.
He probably was selling that bag of dope to the two truck drivers of the toxic waste.
Yeah.
In the first film, that I forgot to mention that how they have this big ass bag of dope, and that's the reason the toxic waste is there. Also, the toxic waste was like transported without covers; it was just completely open. And they decided to hit blow while in front of this health club. It was just ridiculous.
They're driving around with a flatbed full of open containers of toxic waste that are not tied down or locked in any way. They slide around.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, we got to get out of this town. Because of Tromaville, the town is basically the biggest toxic waste area to drop in the country. We found out the mayor was the one doing that. But they decided to stop at this health club to do this big bag of blow. And even when Melvin falls in there, they raise their head up all covered in like snow. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I did find it funny though, in the new one where when he does become Toxie and he rips that guy's arm off that's going against his friend, and the cop comes over and like the people come out with like the pitchforks and torches. He's like, "Fuck it, it's a mob." He starts shooting in the air and they all just start chasing him. I was like, what? I was like, what? It was just so random.
Yeah. Well, in the remake, I feel like they did watch the original and then they made everything more plausible, right? Except for, of course, what I said about Toxic Avenger becoming a hero. That was the only bit, but they really expanded the bad guys part. with Kevin Bacon. It's all much tighter and makes a lot more sense. The fact that Toxic Avenger Kevin Bacon's company is creating the toxic waste when it's making all this stuff, and when Toxic Avenger Peter Dinklage gets thrown into the toxic waste, it's because he's at the place where he works, and trying to steal that money. So all of that makes way more sense in the remake.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. I think it's more, like I said, it's more fleshed out in terms of that way. I think the remake actually had a lot of respect towards the original because one, Hertz was as a producer. Lloyd Kaufman makes a cameo appearance in it, and he still looks good for. Lloyd Kaufman's like in his late 70s. He looks pretty good for a late 70-year-old.
I was really surprised by that as well when he showed up. And I knew he was going to show up, so I was looking for him. But when I saw him, I was like, wow, yeah, he doesn't seem like he's that old.
Yeah, and Dinklage being a big fan of the film, the original series, kind of put that, respect towards this film. Did you watch the post-credit scenes?
Yes. And I'm trying to remember what they were now.
Yeah, so one of them is there's a subplot with his him trying to get in touch with his stepson. Like I said, his mom died. His stepson and him don't have a great relationship. His stepson is like a dancer of some sort, which that's another part too. When he goes to the talent show, they're like playing that song "My Neck, My Back." It's such a crude song for kids to be dancing to, and they're playing it, and he's watching the kids dance. And I guess he wants to be a dancer. He does, or a performer. And at the end of the film, in the post credits, he's watching him perform as doing his dance or whatnot, where he's doing jokes and whatnot and dancing around. And then the second one, they show that the girl survived. Sissy, I think her name is, the character that was Kevin Bacon's love interest, and she also drank some of the toxic stuff to make herself into a monster. She survived somehow. And they just cut away from her and they cut to him making a grilled cheese sandwich. And he's talking about how grilled cheese is good and how you make it. And basically his kid comes out of the bathroom with a hat on and starts doing like a Michael Jackson dance. It's just so random. He's just doing like a Michael Jackson dance behind him. This guy's explaining about grilled cheese. And then they sit down and eat grilled cheese.
Yeah, I almost thought that was like, I thought it was going to be sort of a Ferris Bueller sort of end, where it's like, you're still here, go away,
Yeah.
But no, it went on a long time where he's talking about the grilled cheese and how to cook it in the different ways and stuff. Again, I think that was sort of I thought it would have been better maybe at half the time.
Yeah, I did like though how it said like Toxie will return because it was making fun of the Marvel films in Toxic Avenger 2. If this movie makes $1 billion, you'll tell your friends. And then it said it'll make Toxie 3, Toxie Dildo World was one of them, the titles. And then it said send crypto at the bottom. I thought was pretty hilarious. So I mean, it didn't take itself too seriously. Obviously, I don't think they're gonna make another one. I think it took so long for this one to come out. I don't think they're gonna make another one.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing. So, you probably watched the unrated version, right? That's like the one that's out on Amazon right now. That's the one that I watched. I don't know why. It almost feels like unrated is on there just to make people watch it. I don't know what would have been added or
I don't know. I just watched it on Amazon because it's the easiest place to find.
But so I watched this. It's the unrated version, and which I don't know. Again, if the movie has never been out in the world, there's not a rating, right? Like it's only been shown at film festivals and stuff, and then it got like a minor release this year in regular theaters, but only like hundreds of theaters, not like all over the country. I honestly, when I found out about it, I thought, oh, maybe I'll go see this at the theater. But it never came anywhere near me. I don't know if it showed up anywhere around Chicago or if you were even clocking it.
No, I did not clock it at all. Like I said, when we were doing, we have a list of stuff we want to go through, like possible scenarios for frame for frame. And when this is one of the things on there, like, oh, there's a new one out, so let's do the older one. I totally forgot this was getting released. Like that's how under the radar it went for me.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. So if it never got released, it's like calling it unrated is weird. I mean, I guess just they haven't looked at it. But the other thing is I saw that one of the reasons they were having such a hard time getting distribution is because of how violent it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you watch both of these movies. Did the remake seem violent?
No, nowhere near
as
compared to
opposed
the original.
to the original?
The original was running over kids with a fucking car. This movie like was nowhere near that. I mean, it had gore in it, and some of it was CGI, some of it was practical, but like they were running kids over with a car. The first one, they fucking kill a dog. Carry a dog gets shot with a shotgun.
What's amazing about that scene too, if you go back and watch, they shoot the dog with the shotgun, and then they show the dog laying there with like the shotgun blast inside, and it's clearly breathing. It is,
hey, man.
The dog is just like laying on. They've trained the dog to lay still, but he's breathing.
Yeah,
it's great.
Carry the dog. His acting credit. What'd you think of Girthy Stockings in this new film? The bum that he meets.
Oh, again, I didn't quite understand that part of the plot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he ends up, and then Toxie ends up taking his friend there to save her, and like shares his blood with her. And
did he tell him he was a doctor? Because I don't remember him telling him that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he did early, like, or maybe they just said he was. I don't know. But then later he's like, yeah, I'm not a doctor.
Like, I like how they show like he's about to do like this work on her, and he just basically is like heating up a peanut.
yeah. Toxie ends up doing the actual medical treatment there. This bum doesn't. Yeah, I didn't quite get that. I think that one fell a little
by the wayside.
And I think they wanted to give him this friend, like somebody to work off of. Like in the original movie, it was the blind woman, right? Became his love interest, but she's also sort of his friend, his partner in this, right? Somebody for him to talk to. And in the new movie, he doesn't have that. He's got the other woman who is a journalist trying to expose this company for all the bad things they're doing. But they're like partners. They're not really friends, and he doesn't have a love interest really in the remake. And so I think they wanted to use the bum as sort of his buddy, like somebody to connect with. And I just don't think it came together quite as well as they wanted it to.
Okay, that makes sense. But you want to get into this verdict, man? See what you think about it?
Yeah, let's.
Chow dear, chow dear, it's chowder. Say it right.
So again, we're gonna go with our verdict here. We have the reboot, which is a good movie, deserves to be there, could make sequels. Remake, meh, movie could be good, but literally the same as the original, didn't need to be made, but okay to watch. Rename, had nothing to do with the original besides title, could be good or bad, should be named something else. And what was the other one that you had to cotton? You always say the fourth one.
Rethink your life decisions.
Yeah, there you go. So what would you give this one, the remake?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one because it's sitting between reboot and remake for me. Like, this the 2023 Toxic Avenger is a good enough movie, right? Like, it's not like a great, but it's in the era of comic book movies, it does what the comic book movies do. It just has a different sort of, main character. And it's not the original. They made a lot of changes from the original, like changing his name. I didn't quite understand that. And they do that in a lot of remakes and reboots and stuff. It always confuses me. Like, why would you change a character's name? Why does the name make that big a deal? And you'll remember the one, like, all the names from the original movie did pop up at different points in the remake. It just wasn't the main characters.
Bozo.
Yeah. But so yeah, this is a tough one for me. I would I think I'm going to go with reboot. I would watch another. I would watch another of these movies. I think it did a good job with it. But yeah. But that being said, I think the original is better.
Oh, so I'm going to disagree with that. I think this one's better than the original. I think the original is good for what it was at the time. I think this one's actually, it's one of the few times where I'm like, wow, this one's, well, besides, The House on Haunted Hill that we watched. This is one of the few times where, like, they rebooted a whole thing where I will watch, new episodes of or new features of for this film. And I thought this one was actually better than the original. I think that what really pushed me towards liking this film more is that the writers and Dinklage took what appealed from the first film and made it into their own in certain ways. And this film just updated everything, but kept that love from the original to kind of transpire in here and fleshed out some of the stuff besides the Toxie origin that was lacking in the first one, like the villains. Like you have like real set villains in this film. The Garbinger character. You have like a bunch of comedy in this. Elijah Wood is great as Fritz. Can I have some more apple juice? That part made me laugh. The cop's like, shut the fuck up. That part was just ridiculous. I think he fleshed out a lot of stuff in this film to make me want to see another one, which I don't know if they're ever going to do it. Hopefully they do. Maybe, I don't know, with Dinklage back and Lucia Carrillo as the Toxie, but I really like this one.
It would be nice to see a sequel to this movie, I think, because you wouldn't have to build the origin story, right? And I will say origin stories just are boring to me anymore because we've just seen 8 bazillion of them now with all the comic book movies. But I think they did a good job with it in this movie. And I agree with you in the sense that this movie is better on almost every single aspect. But when I watched the original and the insanity of that movie and compared it to this one, I like the original. And it's not a better movie. It is a worse movie in every way. I'll tell you right now, like it's just a bad movie. It is. There's no redeeming quality of it, except for I enjoyed the entire movie. I enjoyed. I was having a good time watching how crazy everyone was acting and how in the over the top gore and just all this crazy stuff. And the remake is literally better in all senses, except for it. I felt like it didn't push quite far enough. It was, ultra violent, right? But it wasn't as ultra violent as the original, and like it didn't quite get there. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I felt like it was a good movie. If they did another one, I would totally go to the theater to see it. I just would hope that in a sequel, they could actually go farther with all the, like the joke that you were talking about. So Toxic Avenger finds out that his pee is toxic and it will melt through bricks and whatever. And so then he has to pee on his face to melt away the collar, the metal collar, so that he can break out. That is a great joke. It's funny. I want more of that. I want them to lean more into some of those things. Like they did a really good job of building plausibility for everything and making everything make sense. But I'm sorry, I just want more pee in the face.
Yeah, I can see what you. But I think if they do get another chance, they might push the envelope because to go all out. I can see where they had to tone it back down a little bit to see. And as you can see, like with the violence, they said it was too violent, and I'm like, it really wasn't. Imagine if they had that in more pushed in the envelope in that sense, we would never got to see it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was amazing to me because when they showed it, or when I found out that it was like part of the problem was that it was too violent, they couldn't, get distributors or something. I honestly thought like, oh, this might be like crazy. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh no, this was way tamer than the original. I mean, the original, they drive a car over like a kid's head and make his head explode. They, the guy on the weight set, they drop weights on this dude's head and it smashes his head in half, like rips it in half.
And his tongue still comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. It's disgusting, and all this. And then in the remake, I think the big, and maybe this is the part that was unrated or whatever, is that he reaches into somebody's ass and pulls out his intestines.
Yeah. Doesn't, what else does he do? Oh, the leader of the nuts, his head's kind of popped off, and then he rips off that guy's beard and shoves it down his throat.
Yeah.
I didn't get the, thinking about the remake, I didn't get the goth chick. I guess they're just making fun of goth chicks, because she would, I don't know what the hell she was saying. She was just mumbling, and they just had like the translations were just symbols.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like symbols that like meant anything. It was just like symbols.
Right. It was just like a goofy joke, and I liked it. And honestly, that's the kind of thing I wish they had a little more of. And I totally get what they were doing. They were trying to make legitimate film, but it needed to move a little more towards the like Naked Gun of it all. Go a little more over the top. We get it. This is not real, and these things are funny because you're just going so far with them. But,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. So you're saying reboot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think I'm going reboot as well, but I enjoyed the original more than the remake, just simply because the remake I felt like just didn't quite go as far as the original did in leaning into the craziness of it.
Yeah, I get you, but I like the original, the newer one, but I'm glad we can agree it is a reboot. So
yeah, well, and I would say most people are going to be on with you in this. I do. I think that if you had a choice of which one you were going to watch and you had never seen these movies, I would say watch the 2025, 23. I'm always confused about that because it's 2 years old, but it just came out. But yeah, I would say watch that movie because I think that more people will enjoy that one. I think there's a little bit of it that's just sort of, nostalgia based for me. as well. But I also think that you can watch the new movie by yourself or with other people or whatever and just enjoy it. Whereas the old movie, I think, is better if you have a group of people and everybody there is like there to kind of make fun of it. Almost like a Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, that would be something we could do.
Yeah.
But my friend, that's episode 4. You got anything to plug, Cotton, before we sign off?
No, I mean, yeah. So the Bleacher Bunch is the other podcast that I do. You can find it on any podcatcher. We're always releasing stuff. That's a Cubs-based fan podcast over there. But once a month, I release a podcast called Baseball Rabbit Hole, and that is not Cubs. So, you know, and if you're not into the Cubs and you don't want to listen to all that all the time, that's fine. But in that feed, you're going to get the Baseball Rabbit Hole, and that is sort of an odd baseball history that I've been going through and finding just weird things and seeing what I find on the internet. The next one that's going to come out, I took a cue from the commercials on MLB.com, Oppo Taco. So the next one that comes out is all about odd baseball slang.
Oh, nice.
So where it comes from, who originally started saying it, and all that stuff. And I am in the middle of writing that now because that's a podcast I actually have to write the whole thing and then record it.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
But yeah, that'll be out by the end of the month.
Sweet. On my end, I am doing 31 reviews in 31 days because I'm a psycho for horror films for this month. So every day for the month of October, I release a new video. The new one will be out tonight for the 19th. So look out for that. We've been growing pretty rapidly due to that, getting a lot of exposure. And I'm also a co-host of the At The Show podcast, which you know because you're listening to it via Audibly or on the Penguin Network right now.
I will say the videos you've been putting out for 31 Days of Horror are great. I can't imagine. I know that you started early to get some of these in the can. Where are you at now? Are you still ahead of the game, or are you trying to play catch up?
So I don't know if I tell you. I had 15 films. The first 15 days I had in the can. The day before I was going to, I always schedule them out in advance. So the day before I went and was going to schedule them out, and one of the films was not loading, the first one, which was the Late Night with the Devil. I clicked on it and it was corrupted. So then I went to the second day and it was corrupted. All 15 films reviews were corrupted.
Oh no.
So it was just, I have a Seagate external hard drive that's like 8 terabytes that I put all my stuff on. So I had to do all of them. I've been doing them. That's why like some days it's a little later than usual.
So you're doing them day to day. That is so tough.
So that's why I had to do one yesterday at 11 and it got released late. Because I do whatever I have to do during the day and then knock out the review. So it's been, even when I try to plan ahead, it's still, the only good thing is all my scripts are written for them. So I can just read off the script, but the editing, the getting the film footage, I had to do all that over again. For the first 15 films would put me behind for this one. But I mean, we're on day 19, so I have 12 left counting today. So 1 more days and I'm free.
Right. Well, they are great. And I don't know if you get much feedback from other people. It seems like people like them. I like them. So
the most feedback I get is the film I'm discussing. If people like the film, then I have people who don't like the film and give me the IMDb rating, which I'm like, okay. And then I have people who tell me, is that really your voice? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, is that bad? And they're like, no, it sounds like it's AI. And I'm like, what? Is that bad? And like, no, I didn't know it was your real voice. I'm like, yeah.
That's the craziest thing. People just like, yeah, is that your real voice? I'm not going to tell you any, like, I'm not going to say if the video was good, if the movie is good. Nothing. I just want to know about your voice.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I sent to my buddy Max. He's like, "Bro, is that you talking?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me talking. Like, what do you think it is?" I was like, "Wow," but appreciate it, man. Be sure to check out the Bleacher Bunch. A lot of good stuff going on there. If you guys have TikTok, follow the Bleacher Bunch on TikTok. Danny does a great job of his walks in the morning. It's not really baseball related. It was at first, but now it's more what's going on in the world. And some of the stuff he says is hilarious. I just love when Danny goes on rants like that. He does a lot of good stuff. Also, we dropped a No King shirt for Resist on the website. So statisticpenguinstudios.com or at the Printify store, statisticpenguin.printify.me. Check it out. Proceeds will go to the National Immigration Justice Center. With that, though, we want to thank everybody for listening. And leave us some reviews and feedback, and we'll use them for making the show better.
Yeah, great. All right, well, that was fun, man.
All right, everybody, take it easy. We'll see you again.